Welcome to Be Creative, the channel dedicated to entertaining and inspiring creators just like you. That's right, guys. With the Mandalorian Season 2 just coming out, we are going to be making a $5 Mandalorian helmet. So let's get right on into it.
Okay guys, so starting off with the materials, we will need a plastic bowl. I got this at the dollar store, so it was really convenient. Just make sure that it has a nice dome shape, preferably without too much details or side parts sticking out, because we're going to end up sanding those off. But obviously, make sure this is big enough to fit your head. We're also going to need a large white piece of poster board. I found this at the dollar store, so it was a really cheap and convenient way to get this much material. For the visor, we'll need a tinted black, kind of clear plastic surface. This isn't like the end-all be-all, but this is what I'm going with just because it's not too dark and hopefully visibility should be just fine. Next up, we have some 5mm craft foam. This will just be for some detailing on the helmet. And finally, we'll need some primer and some metallic spray paint. Here are the tools that we'll be needing. I have some sandpaper. I may use a Dremel as well just to get those edges off of the bowl, but you could use whatever you want. Next, we'll have a ruler, a Sharpie, and some scissors. And finally, a hot glue gun and some duct tape. Okay guys, so now that we are in the garage, I'm going to sand off this upper lip area, also this outer edge, and the words right there. I may start off with hand sanding, but then I think I'm gonna switch to a Dremel midway through, but no, you could always just hand sand it. It may just take a little bit more time. Okay guys, as you just saw, we completely went to town with the sanding and the Dremel. We cut off that entire side edge along with the little lipped indent so that you could set it on a flat surface, and we also sanded off the wording. Now, while trying to sand mine, it actually cracked. You can't really see it because I patched it up a bit. That might happen just because we're working with some pretty cheap bowls, but it shouldn't be too bad after we get the paint and primer on. So now we're gonna do a really embarrassing part and literally just place it on our heads and then take the poster board and try to wrap it around to see the general shaping. Now, because I know it's not gonna be too long, I'm probably gonna cut the poster board about in half so that I could just wrap it around and see what I'm working with. Et voila. Basically what I just did was I took the width of it, cut it down in half. Now I'm going to actually make that cut and then try and vent it around the bowl. Okay guys, so this is my really crude first take at it. All I've done is simply wrapped the paper around here, and I made it a little bit indented on the back end, just so that hopefully we could get more of that Mandalorian shape. Now, let's see how it fits on my head. This is the way. Okay guys, so here I put the helmet on my little brother. I know it doesn't look much like a Mandalorian helmet right now, but I'm going to trace with Sharpie where I'll need to cut it to make it look more accurate. So as you guys saw in the video, we marked where his ears and his eyes were, and I've just made this really rough sketch of what the Mandalorian visor is going to look like. Pretty happy with this one. I even had him reassure me that my eyes would line up in the actual space. So now what I'm going to do is simply just cut that out. And for reference, yours might be different, but mine was about an inch in width of the main visor section, and then a centimeter on the ends, the corners, but that's gonna change for everyone. And here we go, guys. I just cut out the T shape of the Mandalorian helmet. Obviously, it's not keeping its shape right now, but we are using that to our advantage. So what I've done is taken our 5mm foam, and I've just lined it up with the inside of that cheek area just to get a nice template. And from there, I free-handed the little like cheekbone shape that the Mandalorian helmets have. And what I'm going to do is cut this out, then flip it, copy it on the other side, and then I'm going to glue them onto the actual helmet. And there we go, guys. We just finished up the cheek areas, and it's giving a lot more definition and definitely looking a lot more like Mando. As you can see, there is some little gapping right here along the top. You might be experiencing that as well. Right now, I'm just gonna hot glue those areas down so that we don't have to deal with it later. Alright guys, so next I'm going to be making the side areas of the helmet. You can see those right there, along with the longer top portion. And then we'll go to the back, and we should be ready to start painting. Sorry if that was a bit hard to follow, but this is basically what I did. I just mirrored both sides with a long rectangle, a little like magnet shape, that shape, and did the same thing over there. Two little rectangles just to fill out the space, a longer one to go on the brow of the helmet, one overarching one, and then one on the back. So now we're gonna connect that all to the helmet. Okay guys, so it's really starting to come together after we add all of those pieces. So right now I've just put some duct tape right here just to keep the shape. I'm about to hit this with some primer and then the metallic spray paint. And then we'll put in the visor. We should be good. After being painted, this is what the helmet is looking like. and we are on the home stretch, guys. So we've got it all good and ready to go. Now we're just going to cut up a bit of this to make into the visor. So what my plan is to use one of the sides as this main bottom part, the other side as the majority of the top part, and then I'll fill in with the little sides just around here and here, and you can see me do that right now. And there we go, guys. The visor is currently put in, but I did notice that when I put it on, you could kind of see my nose, and that looks a little bit derpy. So now what I'm going to do, this is completely optional, by the way, is I'm gonna take a see-through folder, just cut a little bit off and place it where the nose should be, so that hopefully you don't see my nose just pressing up against it, and it doesn't look as weird. So like I said, I just cut a little slit out of here, and now I'm going to place it on the inside, just where the nose section is and kind of down to the mouth. Hopefully you won't be able to see my nose as much. I'm gonna use some duct tape because as you guys saw in the time lapse, duct tape really saved the day, and thankfully it looks just fine on the outside.
This is the way.
Yeah, it came out really well, guys, especially for only $5. This came out really, really nicely, and as you saw in all the time lapses, it wasn't even that hard of a process. I know it may have been a little bit tricky to follow along, but hopefully this can make your experience watching The Mandalorian Season 2 so much better. And that'll do it for me, guys. If you like the video and feel like I deserve it, please do leave a like. And while you're on your way down, please do leave a comment so that you can interact with me and the rest of the fans. I'll be signing off, and always remember to be creative.